Good morning.
Hey, everyone.
I'm Corey.
I'm Kelly.
So I guess I'll just say that music is so powerful. My whole life, I've been very blessed I went through the rap and my stages in my high school years, fought a lot.
I'm so confused. I thought I was starting.
Oh, I thought I was. Yeah. Music
No.
is
Okay,
beautiful.
let's go with this.
I love music. Music has guided my life. I was really blessed when I was like 14 years old to get introduced to 311. And their entire vibe is a positive, love life, love yourself. They obviously have a lot of other stuff in their music, but their main message is just positivity. Live life, love people, love one another. And over the last 30 years of my life plus, I've followed 311, and I'm just really grateful that I've had that type of guidance within music, because music is one thing that's just a constant in just about everybody's life. There is some sort of music guiding us, whether it's uplifting, depressing, exciting, sad. It's like my life is guided by music, and today my life is really being guided by just high frequency music, hymnals, just straight frequencies. But I did put on some 311 today, and the music that came on was about eating and what we put in our body. Went straight to it. It's called Hydroponic. It's from 1993, and it says, "Everything I eat is from the earth. I am what I eat, straight up earth. Nothing but a walking sack of earth. Nice to meet you. How do you do?" That's right. Yeah, you're one too. I just love their lyrics. It's always been positivity, and it's probably kept me alive in my life. My diet today, when I heard that song, it's just like I started thinking about the things that I'm putting in my life, and I've been thinking a lot about kosher. Like, is my diet kosher? And I know that Jesus told...
Well, what is kosher? For people that don't know what kosher is.
It was the Jewish way of eating, but are things kosher? Are things right? Am I cleaning my food? I don't know. I don't know the entire realm of a kosher diet, but I do know that I'm walking in that direction. Like, my diet is becoming more and more kosher. No swine, no pig. I think everybody knows that one. And I'm not trying to live a kosher diet by no means. Like, that's not my intention. But I am being conscious of like what I put in my body. I know Jesus lived a kosher life. I don't know if during his life he partook of things that weren't kosher because he knew who he was and that he was there to fulfill those laws. I do know that he took the apostles off of a kosher diet, but that doesn't mean that he said just go all out and start eating everything. So I really believe that there's a lot to eating that way that's important. That would remove a lot of things like butter and stuff too, lard, things that we put in our food. It would be pretty extreme to be completely kosher. Almost vegan. I know that it's not vegan. There's still fish and other stuff that you can eat. I'm rambling about diet, but it's just so amazing how I am so in tune with my body today that everything I put in it affects how I feel. Everything I put in my body affects how I feel. I've been eating a lot of nuts, legumes, fruits, vegetables. I still eat quite more bread than I can feel that is a little heavy on me. What are we eating? What are we putting in our body? Like, as a recovering addict, as somebody that has dealt with heroin and, the most damaging fentanyl and all the things, just the most damaging things I could put in my body. And now I'm on this extreme of, like, I can feel how things affect me simply by what I'm eating. And when I don't eat, I feel just so much better. On the days that I do not eat, I have more energy than on the days that I do. And when I'm eating every day, I just feel so lethargic. Like, I sleep longer, I sweat more, I'm not as clear in my thinking. I kind of lose vision of the direction that just things, you know, my brain goes back to some previous habits and thoughts, and I just feel so grateful to be going in the direction where I'm striving to be more like Jesus in the way that I eat specifically. Like, I think that is one of the things that is overlooked in the world. Addiction to food. We spend so much money on food. I mean, just think about going out to eat and spending $100 on a meal. It's easy for two people to sit down and spend $100 on a meal. What could I do with that? I mean, I don't want to get up and preach, but what can I do with $100? $100 is a lot of money. And that's coming from somebody that was doing $100 of dope. Like, it's nothing. You know, I mean, that's coming from somebody that's been very wasteful and but that doesn't matter. It's where am I at today? You know, like, food, how much money am I spending on food that is just waste? I mean, I know that it's being wasted because of how it's coming out, if you want to be crude about it. I mean, I could smell it coming out of my skin, my pores. I'm just so grateful that I'm being guided in a direction where food has become a very important thing in my life. How am I feeding myself? Spiritually, physically, literally, metaphorically, whatever. So yeah, I guess I started.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, totally awesome. Okay, so something with food that I've realized, like you, I've become really sensitive to recognizing how things affect me. Like, years ago, I've always just eaten everything and anything I've ever just wanted to eat. I would just buy whatever from the store. I mean, that's just kind of how we were even brought up. I mean, Mom would come in with just, like, anything and everything.
100 boxes of cereal?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not 100, but...
50. I mean, you'd fill the entire top of that pantry up with boxes of cereal. When she got the 3-for-1 specials?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. Any cereal you can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was General Mills.
Yeah. All the good sugary ones that are so
Lucky
good.
Charms.
Yeah. So I mean, my whole life, I really have truly just eaten anything and everything that I've wanted to eat. And I've not had an issue with weight because I've just always been real thin and everything. But so it was in like 2017, I had a surgery done. I had a hysterectomy, and I had a really hard time with recovery. And for whatever reason, my body, like, I started to have major aversion to, like, meat. It was the weirdest thing. Like, I could not stand the smell of it. I couldn't cook it. Like, it was disgusting to me. Like, my body was repulsed by it. And then, and so I had a really hard time finding things to eat because, like, heavy creams and, like, dairy and just stuff that I had eaten my entire life. For some reason, after I had that hysterectomy, my body completely changed and my tastes changed and so many things changed. And I became very, very aware of how foods were affecting me. And so it's really been an interesting journey since that time, figuring out what is really best for my body. And just being so aware of how things affect my body. So, like, this this past Friday, so it's Monday. So this past Friday, I went to lunch with my dad, and I got this fish that was so good. It was like this blackened fish, and it was over rice, and it had this really good, rich, heavy cream on top of it. That was so good. And I had like a great salad, and it had like feta cheese and stuff in it. The next day, I woke up just sneezing and snotting, and just like, that is how my body responds to dairy. Like, I have just learned how I respond to things. But then Saturday, I had another salad, and I sprinkled some Parmesan cheese on it, and some other things. And I think I ate some of my leftovers because I didn't want to waste it. You know, it's like, I would rather eat something, and that's a mind thing. We've learned that I don't want to waste this food that I have, so I'm going to eat it so I don't waste it, and then I'm going to suffer. Because I'd rather suffer than waste. And that is a mind thing. Like, we can choose not to eat something. We can choose to throw it out because we know that it's going to affect us in negative ways. But there is a thing within me that is, you know, you want to eat everything on your plate. You don't want to waste. You know, and that is a programmed thought that comes from, you know, our ancestors who did not have food, who you don't waste food because you don't know what food you're going to eat tomorrow. So we do have this program in our mind that even if it's not good and healthy for your particular body, because we're all made so different, you know, you might be able to eat things that I cannot eat because my body, it's not good for my body. So for the past 2 or 3 days, I have just been, my body has been going through a reaction, like it's an allergic reaction to the foods that I put in me. And it's made me feel cruddy. It's like I've sneezed like 100 times yesterday. Like, I didn't want to go to church because I was just sneezing and snotting and my stomach was upset. And so it's just like these little choices that we make, it really affects us. And so I've just been downing water, you know. It's like, now I just want to flush my system out. I just want to get all of this out of my system and just reset it, you know, because that's the beautiful thing too, is that we can make different choices right now. I can choose completely different right now. I don't have to continue making the same choices. Yet I find myself, I really love certain things, and so I will eat it, and then I suffer. And it's like, when am I going to get to the point where I don't do that? Because I just love feeling so good. Like, I hear you talk sometimes, and I'm just like, I want to feel like that. Like, I want to be like that all the time.
Me too.
You know?
I do too. And as you talk, I'm sitting here thinking about the cheese and the milk and the eggs that I ate this weekend, and how I've been having some sinus issues. I had sleep in my eye that Kelly just pulled off. That's been there since 6 o'clock this morning. I told her, I was like, I don't even look in the mirror very much. Like, there's just, food affects us in ways that we can't even imagine. The way that our body is functioning on a daily basis. So I've always had this thought that I have an allergic reaction to something because I've suffered with irritable bowel syndrome my whole life. Like, I'm the guy that knew where every single pot of gold was throughout the entire city because I was constantly detoxing. Since I was 14 years old, I've been going through detoxing from opiates, whether it was hydrocodone or Loratabs or whatever. I mean, I can name them all. I don't need to go there. Opiates have always been in my life, except for some year periods throughout that I wasn't on them. But from the time I broke my ankle at like 13 or 14, I found the love of my life. And, you know, that's a 30-something year battle. So I never really, until probably the last 5 or 10 years, correlated that I always had digestion issues since high school. I had a note from my mom where I could go home during school, and I just always had digestive problems. So a lot of opiates. But now that I don't have that to look at, it's like, what am I putting in my body that's causing me not to have a number 4 stool? If you look at your stool chart, I already shared it with my family. But you really can have a perfect digestive system depending on what we put in our body. I am naturally probably 150 pounds. Just naturally. That's my body weight. Right now I'm around 152, 153. I've been 203 from steroids, water weight, whatever. But today I'm just not putting any of that garbage in my body, and I'm able to look at every specific thing that I'm eating. I don't eat barely anything, but on the days that I eat every day, I do notice that I am taking in too much. I'm having sinus issues. My digestive system's working too hard. And I've listened to some people that are just very spiritual and very connected. I feel like they're very connected, and they all do regular fasting. Mm-hmm. They don't eat consistently every day. And think about the money and the health and just the things that can change in my life depending on what I'm putting in my body. It's just your entire budget will shift. Your entire life will shift.
Yeah, it's so interesting the way that we've been taught. It's something that our culture, we've just learned that we eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and we have snacks in between, and we go places and we get together, and it's just all about food. And so food has just been a really huge thing. And as I have fasted, whenever I was doing the alternate day fasting, oh my gosh, yes, the amount of food that I would buy at the store, it halved. Mm-hmm. And my choices changed. I craved more fruits and vegetables and the nuts and just anything that just felt good to my body. And that's one thing too, is that, we read in the scriptures that we are made from dust. Our bodies are created from this earth. And so, of course, our bodies crave what this earth provides. And the crazy thing is that today you walk into a grocery store and it's really not food. It's truly not food that we have choices, in our grocery stores. It's all processed, packaged in boxes with labels that have just so many ingredients that we can't even pronounce. And it's if the food you're eating has more than 5 ingredients in it, you just might want to really look at your food choices and what we're putting into our bodies. Because all these chemicals, I've just learned so much about all this stuff. Our liver and our kidneys and just our system, our digestive system. It's just not meant for all these chemicals that we're putting into our bodies. And it does cause diseases. It does cause irregulations. It causes our lymph system. It causes just all of the systems in our bodies have to work overtime with all these chemicals that we're putting into it. But when I eat a pineapple, or I eat apples and grapes, and I make this juice that's got celery and carrots, and whenever I put that into my body, it's oh my gosh, it just feels so good. And I don't have the bloating, and I don't have the burping, and I don't have just it feels so good, and my spirit feels good. It's I feel like I'm doing something good for myself. But if I sit down with these really pleasurable, great things, I love wedding cake. Wedding cake is one of my favorite kinds of cakes. It's the almond cake. and I got one for my birthday, and I mean, I couldn't let it go to waste because it's just so good. And that buttercream frosting, oh my goodness, it's just one of my favorites. And I ate it. I ate half a cake because I sent half of it with someone else, and so I because I was like, I will eat this whole thing. But I felt it. I felt what it was doing to my body, and I was just like, oh, it's just so good, but it's just not so good for my body. So it's like, what choices am I making here? You know, is it bringing me more into like just feeling good? Because when we feel good and we're eating well and we're just listening to the good music, it just gives us so much energy, and we're at this place where the Spirit can really work with us to move us into to make a difference for our own lives and also in the lives of other people. Otherwise, we're sick, we're snotty, sneezy in bed, and you know, which is okay also. I mean, I'm coming to accept places that I am, even if I make the choices and it puts me there myself, because I recognize God is able to use me in all of my different ways. And sometimes resting, he's able to, you know, I'm able to slow down, I'm able to hear, but like you said, we're not able to hear as clearly. You know, it's like whenever we're making really better, higher 10 choices, it's just that we're clearer. Like whenever I'm fasting, it is just how it is. It's the way that we were created. It's just really interesting.
Yeah, food blocks us from a lot of our connectivity to God. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned the lymphatic system, and that was, anybody that has a knowledge of anatomy and physiology will know the lymphatic system is the most difficult system to really understand about the body, because there's so many inverse things that happen when we take in. It's a wild system in our body, but everything we eat definitely affects it. The lymphatic system is awesome. With food, my sensitivity to spiritual things has become so just powerful. Like over the last few days, 2 days, been having a lot of tears about the hate going on in this world. Like I'm so sensitive to it. Like just seeing the things that we've seen over the last 2 days, it's like this, I know what the direction we're headed. Like it's beautiful, but what do we have to go through for everybody to get on the same page and just learn to love one another, to get sensitive to reality, and to break free from these constructs that our country has put us in of the nutrition table. You know, the Department of Agriculture wants us to eat according to this triangle, and we need to do 3 to 4 meals. Like Kelly was saying, it's like, how long is it going to take for everybody to break free of this matrix that we're stuck in? And when we do, that's when things happen. It's not like Jesus is going to come and save us all and change everything. We're going to change everything, and he's going to come and reign on earth. And it's beautiful. It's happening. We are in the middle of it. This isn't the future. This is the present. And it's like, how much of a part do I want to play in this change on earth? Because we're in the middle of it. And it comes down to things as simple as, what am I putting in my body? This system that the world has, I got snagged and I got convinced of a lot of things. Psychedelics, drugs, all of it. Rock and roll, whatever fame thing, whatever that is, the celebrity stuff, and just the whole twisted thoughts that we have in this world. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is, am I living my life wanting to do better for this world? Do I want to give back more, or am I just taking from the earth and just filling my mouth full of processed garbage and just constantly keeping my body down where I can't even really be of service because I'm too busy repairing my own cells within my body because I eat too much or I do something else too much or I have an addiction to whatever. I'm so free today. I still have my vices. I'm not perfect and I would never claim to be. I will always, every day I have something that I deal with. And whenever God is in control of my life, it's just so much easier to deal with it. Doesn't mean it's not there. Doesn't mean that I'm not aware, but at least I'm aware of it. You know, At least I'm conscious enough to where I know I want to work on this in my life because cheese gives me gas.
Right.
I mean, just something that simple.
Totally.
So
yeah, it's just like this mountain. It's as we make really great choices, we get these mountaintop experiences. You know, we're not living on the mountain, but man, we get these hits, these pings, these moments of so much clarity, so much revelation, just so much like this state of blissfulness. And it's like, oh, if I could just live here, if I could just live here. And it's, you know, I think that one day we will. I feel like that is where we are working to be, to live. But we're not gurus. We're not these mystic people living in a cave or on top of a mountain in this blissful state of nirvana in our minds constantly, because we live, because we have relationships, because we're making choices in the world that we live in today, you know. And it's finding the resources that help us to be healthier. And it's very difficult in the world that we're living in today to find like natural, pure, wholesome, good things unless we're growing it in a garden in our backyard, you know. Because I mean, just everything. I mean, I've gotten into like learning about plastics and just all that kind of stuff. And it's like our clothes, everything is just full of plastic. And what is that doing to our bodies, you know? And it's just one thing at a time. Like, as we become awakened and aware of what's going on in this world, it can get really, really overwhelming. It can get really like, oh my gosh, I have to make so many changes because I have done so many things in my life that have brought me to this point of like, I see so much. But it's like, it's really just one small thing at a time. It really is, because that's where the real true change happens. I mean, we live our life and we're in all these ruts of how we think, how we live, you know. Just like I wake up and it's breakfast, I need to eat, you know, even though my body's really not hungry, you know. But I've been taught that you wake up and you eat. Yeah, it's 12. Oh, I must need to eat because it's lunchtime. You know, it's like we go by this clock instead of by our bodies. And there's just so many things. There's just so many choices that we make every single day that can either like help us to purify our body, even the clothes that we put on our body, just everything. But like I said, it's one thing at a time. Just with water, with sleep. And it starts with really the simple things. What are the things that we're listening to? Like you started. You know, I love music. Like I think everybody who is in this world just loves music because it creates a feeling within us. You know, whenever we listen to certain types of beats and certain types of frequencies, it does something to our bodies. Like I can listen to music that I listened to like in the 80s and the 90s, 2000s, like, and it will bring me back to that time. it'll bring me back. It'll bring a feeling into me. It'll bring memories to me. I mean, it's like a whole experience. And so I've been really, like, over the past little while, we've both been listening to just these higher frequency sounds, and it's just relaxing, meditative type music. And I'll put it on in the morning, and it just brings like this whole calmness to my body. Like if I feel anxious or like there's just too much stimulation going on around me, because I'm just sensitive to so much stuff around me, then I'll put that on, and it's just got this tone, it's got this feeling to it, and it will completely relax my body. And then, like, if I want to, like, do something and upbeat, you know, it's like you could put music on and it'll get you in that energetic feeling, you know, it'll raise you up. Then there's that music that, like, if you want to cry, you could put that music on and just bawl, you know? I mean, just all of it. It just affects us. And if music is affecting us that way, think about the food. Think about it. Something else that's really awesome that I've learned is about water. Like water, if you've never heard about this, I encourage you to go Google it and to go like YouTube about water and the frequency, like how water, if you speak to water and you say positive, good, uplifting, loving things to water and you freeze it, like it will turn into beautiful, like snow crystal-y looking, just beautiful shapes and things. And then they'll and these are scientific studies, like you can learn about this. Then if you talk to your water, like, and just scream at it and just say ugly, hateful, hurtful things to it, as you freeze it, it just makes these ugly look. I mean, I don't think anything's really ugly, but it makes it like different. It's different. It's not as beautiful. And so if we just think about like our words, if our words are affecting water, you know, and we're putting that water into our bodies. I mean, think about the words that we're speaking to people, because we're full of water and our bodies take on those words. And what are the words that we're saying to ourselves? You know, that's something that I've been doing for over a month now, is I have these affirmations that I speak to myself that every morning. I mean, I say to myself these things that I am love, I am joy, I am light, I am abundance, I am just, I mean, I've got like a whole list of things that I go through, but it's just speaking these words of affirmation, these things that are good, that feel good, that lift me, that help me to become and to just be really who I am, and just is stripping away just all the stuff that I'm not.
You know, life is beautiful. I love really water, and it's amazing what frequency can do to water. Everything you said, people probably think we're whacked out, but
it's like you can find it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
stuff I've learned,
and it's so obvious. Our faith, our words can affect the way that we vibrate. I love the fact that Moses, when God parted the sea, it's not like he was standing there waiting for the sea to be parted. He was walking into the water. He was probably up to his nose, ready to drown, and he took another step forward, and that's when the water parted, as he connected to God and changed the frequency of the water. The water parted. You could call it a miracle. I think every miracle has an explanation. We just don't get it. We don't have the ability to grasp it. So therefore we see Jesus giving sight to the blind, and it's a miracle. It is a miracle because our finite minds can't understand it. But the more I learn, the more I realize just how it's just truth. I mean, it's just truth. People can overcome any illness. I truly believe that whether it's dying to overcome it or overcoming it in the body, any illness we can have, Whether it's a spiritual illness or a physical illness, we can overcome it through what we're putting in our body, in our mind, and the way that we're talking to what we're putting in our body and in our mind. It's just beautiful. I love life.
Mm-hmm.
I love vibrating at a higher frequency, and I just love. Love is the answer. I mean, how much can we say it? Loving everything and not judging it is just... I'm not judging it, my food, but I do know what my food does to me.
Right. It's just being aware of it. Just understanding it.
I'm gonna enjoy a burger someday with my dad, hopefully this life. You know? I mean, it's just I'm not being a fanatic. I'm not against eating some cake whenever the cake is presented to me. It's just, what am I doing every day to my body?
Right.
Every day matters. And the only one that matters is the one we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, what am I going to do with my day?
Mm-hmm. And also having gratitude for our food, you know, saying a prayer over our food, just blessing it, asking for it to bless our bodies. And whenever I cook, like there's been so many times where I'm just very intentional, and it could sound really crazy to people, but I mean, just being really intentional with the food and just thanking it and just putting life and love into our food. It really, it does something. Yeah. It does something for us.
If you've got to hang up with prayer, put some high frequency music on your food.
Yeah.
I mean, it really, you know.
Intention. It's just the intention. Yeah. It's the words. Yeah. If you're not connecting with God, I mean, connect with whatever it is you connect with the food. Connect with the food.
Elevate that frequency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love life.
I do too. It's just a journey. It's just learning. It's learning all of it.
Yeah.
And as we become aware of the things, that's where we can change. We have choices. Like, that's the beautiful thing, is as we gain knowledge, it gives us choices. We have more control over our lives than we've been led to believe. You know, it's like we're born into this life and we're just put into this matrix. We're put into just all this conditioning, all this stuff that for generations. And it's like we are becoming aware. We are recognizing that we can do things differently that bring so much love, that brings so much peace, that brings so much joy into our lives, and we don't have to continue living in the same exact routine that we've always been just stuck in, that's keeping us all sick and angry and in pain. And, you know, it's just, we don't have to live that way anymore. We just don't. It's beautiful. I love it. I'm so grateful.
Amen. Love y'all.
Bye, y'all.